I have lived in Valparaiso since I left Valparaiso University in 1993. I got married in August of 1995. In the last 20 years, you see more people of color, whether that be Hispanic, African American. Now it used to be a casual exchange, maybe once a week. Now you go to Target, you go to Kmart, you go to Walmart. You actually see African Americans working in those places. You actually see African Americans shopping in those places. And on a rare occasions, when you're stopped at a traffic light, you might see an African American walking from one place to another, or actually in a car driving. You didn't used to see that back in 1988 when I came here as a freshman. Oh my goodness, Miller's Mart. The community has really changed, because back in the day, Miller's Mart was the only shopping. And I remember first coming on the campus, they would tell me, if you go to Miller's Mart, don't look like you're going to steal something, because people will watch you when you go in there. And sure enough, you go into Miller's Mart, people will be watching you and seeing, what are you doing in here? Are you coming in here to steal? People are way too helpful. You go into a store, you notice someone saying, hi, can I help you? You say yes or no, most of the time they would go away. But in particular at Miller's Mart, you say no, they wouldn't necessarily go away. They would shuffle here, they would shuffle there. You can see, you can tell. The community has changed. Whether it's more receptive to people of color, I don't think so. Some of the problems that we used to have back then exist today. It has changed in that the campus now is more accessible to the community. A lot of times I see what I perceive as students walking, whether it be into Target or walking downtown. The campus it's more open to the community now. It's growing, it's developing. I think things are not as bad as they were in 1988. For instance, you don't walk down the street and be called the N-word as much as you used to back in the late 80s. At least my experience, I haven't. But I think the subtleties are still there. Not getting on the elevator with someone of color, clenching your purse as someone walks by you. Those are the implicit things that still exist today. There are a lot of people that think law enforcement stops people of color unnecessarily. There are a lot of people that think law enforcement unjustly does searches and seizures, or searches in general when they stop someone for a routine traffic stop. There are still no people of color on law enforcement in Porter County that I'm aware of. You don't see them in Portage, you don't see them in Valpo. And people ask the question, why is that? For some people, the experience is real. You could talk to 10 or 15 different people who say, yeah, I was stopped. There was no real reason for me to be stopped. And there are people that would say, well, yeah, I ran a red light and that's why I got stopped. It's never happened to me. I tend to be more of a data-driven person, so I want to see the facts behind how many stops have been made in the last year, how many of those are African American, how many of those were just routine, were they justified, was there something that they did illegally. So I don't want to invalidate it, but at the same time, when I say people think, it's hard to validate things like that, especially when implicit bias is still prevalent today.